Barnstable police apprehend a woman that escaped police custody late last week. A project to extend the Cape Cod Rail Trail through Barnstable is one step closer to becoming a reality, and a move to preserve 16 acres of land surrounding Lowell Park in Cotuit gets support from the Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, August 12th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mannel. A Hyannis woman arrested Friday night escaped police custody. Police Chief Paul McDonald says both the prisoner and the individual that assisted in the escape are facing charges.
A member of the street crime unit on Friday night at about 9:30 stopped an individual who was well known to the police department, Shania Lopes. The officer had personal knowledge that there were multiple warrants for her arrest. The officer tried to stop her, engage her in a foot pursuit, ended up capturing her, arresting her, and putting her in the back of his cruiser, unmarked cruiser. In the back of the cruiser, there isn't a prisoner transport module. There is no way, once you're in the back of those cruisers, there is no way to exit those cruisers or open the doors. However, while he was doing this, several individuals gathered around the car, and one of the individuals actually opened the rear door of the cruiser as the cruiser was pulling away. Shania Lopes was able then to escape from the cruiser and took off running. The officer then engaged them both in foot pursuit, did not capture the original arrestee, Shania Lopes, but did capture the person who assisted her in the escape, Latrona Sims. She was subsequently arrested, charged with disorderly and aiding a person to escape from police custody. So it was an extraordinary event. And because of that, street crime unit, they pretty much worked around the clock all weekend. I'm trying to find the individual, and she was subsequently arrested Sunday night, Monday morning around 1 o'clock in the morning at a home in Masters Mills. So she has subsequently been arrested, and she's been charged with the warrants, resisting, obstructing arrest, and also being escaped prisoner.
McDonald says this is only the second time a prisoner has escaped custody in the 33 years he has been working with the department. The Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee reviews plans for the Cape Cod Rail Trail extension. The extension will connect Barnstable with the popular bike path. Community Preservation Committee Chair Lindsay Council attended the meeting and was able to provide a bit of background on the rail trail.
The state is beginning construction later this fall, of the rail trail extension from its terminus in Dennis, and is extending it westerly through Yarmouth and Dennis to Peter Homer Park in Yarmouth. Peter Homer Park's a nice little ball field that's by the landfill there. This project picks up that effort from Peter Homer Park and extends it further west all the way into to Mary Dunn Road, across principally for Barnstable totally, and on the property of Fish and Wildlife.
Council says in order for the rail trail extension project to begin, an easement would need to be approved for the Fish and Wildlife property.
And the bikeway will come from Yarmouth in the upper right-hand corner, across I guess in that area it's known as Willow Street in Yarmouth. And this property that's in green is the Fish and Wildlife property that was acquired several years ago, known locally as the Hyannis Ponds area. And we've been working, as David mentioned, officially probably for 6 years, to get an easement over this property to extend the bikeway to its end right at the end of Mary Dunn Road. What we've negotiated is to get an easement that's going to be basically along the northern edge of the property. And our original proposal had the bikeway going on the roadway that was constructed by the previous owner. What's involved in that is we had to come up with two types of mitigation. One was what we call direct mitigation, which was to replace the acreage with conservation land where the footprint of the bike would occur. And that's going to be 12 to 14 acres. And these parcels that are in purple, the four parcels that we have acquired or will acquire interest in to offset the direct mitigation for the bikeway. And what you're considering is indirect mitigation, because if you see the red line on this plan, we have to have a hunting offset of 150 feet from the edge of the paved bikeway. And so that's what the red line represents, and that'll be the area that will not be allowed to be hunted any longer. And we had to provide an offset of 2-to-1 mitigation in acreage for the loss of that hunting area. And so that's what the request is. It's before you, is this conservation restriction that will basically swap hunting areas. So there'll be, the Fish and Wildlife will be compensated for direct mitigation, the construction of the physical path, and then indirect mitigation through the offset. And so that's what this request is about and why we're here with you.
The committee voted unanimously to support adopting the conservation restriction. The proposal will go before Town Council for its approval in October. The Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee also discussed a move that would preserve the 19 acres surrounding Lowell Park in Cotuit. Jackie Barton, Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust, urged the committee to support the move.
Barnstable Land Trust has an agreement to purchase the 19 acres that surround Lowell Park. Lowell Park is a town-owned property that was donated by the Lowell family over a series of years. And since the 1940s, the Kettleers have been playing baseball there. The 19 acres surrounding the park is still owned by the Lowell family. The family also owns 25 acres on the other side of the property, the other side of Putnam Avenue. About 2.5 years ago, they came to Barnstable Land Trust. I've been talking to them, their mother, for over 25 years about wanting to protect this property. And they approached Barnstable Land Trust and asked the question whether we were interested in helping to preserve the land. Took us a while. There are 8 family members involved in discussions and negotiations, but we arrived at an agreement to purchase the property for $1.6 million. It took us until February of this year, 2014, to get an agreement signed. But all 8 of them signed it. That's the important part. Bless you. And so the 19 acres is important for a number of reasons. First, it falls partially within the zone of contribution to Cotuit's number 3 well. And it's part of the scenic green belt that comes in Putnam Avenue, Eagle Pond, Bell Farm, the town cemetery on either side. And then there's more than 1,000 feet of frontage along Putnam Avenue. Putnam Avenue, of course, is one of the town's designated scenic roads. So water quality protection, scenic road. The property, also the watershed goes in this direction, so preserving this land and keeping it from being developed will keep the nitrogen loading that would come from septic systems and lawns from entering the embayment. It's an easily developable property in the respect that it has frontage on East Lane, the extension of Old Post Road, Putnam Avenue, and Lowell Avenue. It could be subdivided into 9 2-acre house lots. So we've been in conversation with the town since we first were approached. We've been in conversation with the Cotuit Athletic Association, who manages the field with the management agreement to the town of Barnstable. And everybody agrees that the thing to do is to protect the land. What's of importance also is the fact that the field as it exists right now, the playing field as it exists right now, extends beyond the town-owned land. And so this map will show you, in essence, the black line is where the existing fence line is, and the scoreboard is on town-owned land. The flagpole, for those of you who know the land, is not. Nor is all of the visiting bullpen. The corner bound here in the visiting bullpen is basically in the middle of that bullpen.
The Land Acquisition and Preservation Committee voted unanimously to support the project. That proposal will go before Town Council sometime next month. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will learn how to protect ourselves, our families, and our pets from ticks. We'll also chat with Finance Director Mark Milne, and we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.